Hello, everyone, and welcome to Around the Table, the Icon UK webinar. This is our September episode, and we are pleased to have a new guest speaker with us who we've never had before. So be nice and be kind with your questions. And we will post this. I promise I'll get to this. I'm in headless chicken at the moment with something going on at work, but I promise I will post because Sharon is going to remind me, and so is Chris and Leon. I will post all the webinars to our YouTube channel, and I'll update all the links on our website now that we've sorted out the SSL. So a few background issues going on with technology, but we'll get there in the end. So this week, this is me again. I'm still the chairman of this band of unruly hooligans called Icon UK, and we are in the embryonic processes of working out where we're going to meet in September next year. So we have, as you will have known, taken a break this year, and we are starting to think about next year, and we are starting to look for venues. So rest assured, we are trying to do a meeting next year for everyone. So this month, we're joined by Chris and Leon, who are going to give us the update on what's new in the world of IBM collaboration. And when you're done, guys, if you could hand back to me so I can introduce Stuart, that would be really useful. Okay?
Sure. Awesome. Right. Okay. So let's start the show with what's new in the world of IBM collaboration. Hi, everyone who hasn't met me. I'm the bearded guy in the top. I'm Chris Moore, and Leon, did you want to give a quick introduction from first of the call?
Oh, hi everyone. I'm the guy at the bottom of the screen, Leon Beckett.
Hello, and we are not bothered, but we do work together on everything collaboration. So we'll be taking you through the latest, and it's been a while since we've been together, so there's a couple of months to catch up with of all things new with IBM Verse, with Connections Cloud, and as well as some updates of some new things coming down the road. So let's start off with IBM Verse. There's been a point update for Verse Mobile for iOS. There's actually also been an update for Android, but in Verse for iOS specifically, there's been several updates to mainly focus on the overall user experience. The first option on the list is the ability to sync all mail, not just a month. Yes, there is a way that you can enforce that by policy, but as default, the user can select how much mail they want to, from a couple of days to a week to a month, and now to all, which is pretty good. There's been a bit of a focus on notifications as well. So you have a level of control now within the settings, alongside everything else for out of office and your signature. You're able to control the level of notifications you get from new emails, and that could be no notifications, notifications for everything, as well as the middle ground of essentially getting notifications of new emails from people who are in your important to me bar. Those are the bubbles at the top of the page within Verse Web. And there's also some general presentation layer improvements in terms of the performance and being able to navigate across different mails as well. Now, that is looking to be improved even further. So I believe Tim does, and I do. We have visibility of what's coming around the corner in the next version of Verse Mobile, and that'll include things like being able to filter unread emails, essentially using all the filters that are available in Verse Web. So unread emails, emails with file attachments, and emails of high importance as well. So being able to get through to those right emails, as well as being able to search all of those emails in that view, is coming very quickly around the corner. So watch out for your latest update from your relevant app store. The next one is a small thing, so being able to preview attachments whilst typing a message. It's something you can do when reading an email, but you can actually now preview that as you're whilst you're in the process of creating the body of that email and having attachments. A nice added extra there. Mail and calendar delegation. Now, this is something that I'm going to show you for real. So I'm just going to start sharing my screen here. And mail delegation has been a long time coming, but it is there now, and it's now all fully controllable within the Verse user experience. So if we start from my calendar, for example, so here's my calendar. Now you've got a pull-out bar here in the top right-hand corner be able to view all the calendars and mail for people you have access to. Now, at the moment, I don't have any. So what I can do is search for people. So if I search for Leon Beckett, who's in my team, I can actually, because I have access to Leon's mail file and calendar, I can actually open mail or open calendar from here. So if I just quickly click on the calendar link, it's already open in another tab. So there we go. So here I can get visibility of Leon's calendar. So it's the visibility of what the user experiences that any calendar or mail file that I open that is someone else's, it opens as a separate tab. So it doesn't do overlay. So it's just in a separate tab, and it's all visual, whether it be their calendar inbox or the content within it, but it's all from them. And whether it be the calendar or the mail file that I'm in, if I'm creating content, it's created by me, Chris Moore, on behalf of Leon Beckett. So that's all visualized. I'm not ghosting Leon as a user. It's very much as you'd expect within Notes. You know, if I was to create a calendar invite, it's chaired by Leon but created by Chris, and that's exactly the same approach that's taken with an email. And this plus icon means I can now add Leon to my access list. So when I come back to my calendar view, there we go. So I've got Leon there. And as I start to add people or remove them if I wanted to, I can get through to them just through pressing this link at the top of the page. It's very quick and very easy. And as it has been over the past few months, you needed to use iNotes to add access to people's calendar. Now you can do that all within Verse. So if I go through to my mail and calendar settings here, I now have a setting for delegation. So here, at the moment, everyone in my organisation has full access. That's literally for demo purposes. So people like Leon can demonstrate this, but obviously not something you're going to have in the organisation. So let's just remove that. That's very easy and quick to do. So at the moment, Frank has only read access to my calendar. That's saying he can read all the details of the entries in my calendar. Leon's my team leader, so I'm going to get him full access. So Leon will be able to write as well as read. And for Lucille, I'm going to give access to mail and calendar because Lucille is actually my PA. So I'm going to give access for both mail and calendar. So I have full control of that from here. So it's, you know, even if I wanted to add someone new, just tap them in, and there we go. So Tim has now full access to my calendar to read and write. So it's all very easy, all very intuitive, but now all 100% within the user experience of IBM Verse, which is great. So let's just come back to the deck here. Move on to the next step. So one of the most recent additions is the ability to invoke different chat services. So within Connections Cloud, there is the Connections Chat Cloud service that comes with the Connections Cloud subscription, whatever flavor it may be. But we now provide the ability to have different options, and Watson Workspace, which is our new persistent conversation service, is one of those ones that you can configure in Connections Cloud and essentially switch out the usage of chat for Watson Workspace. So in the case here, you can see Ali Singh is online. I'm going to presence. I can click the chat icon within the Important to Me bar, or in fact, wherever her business card is in Connections Cloud, select that, and then it will invoke a direct message and launch Watson Workspace on a desktop, which is great. And that's, as I mentioned, is all configurable from within the from the admin console. And next is on to Connections Cloud. And at this point, I will pass on to Leon Beckett. Over to you, Leon.
Thank you very much, Chris. And I don't know if the keen listeners to what you were saying there, but I thought I'd picked up a promotion for myself, so I'm now Chris's team leader, so that's good to know. So moving along, however, I'm going to give you a few updates to what has happened with Connections Cloud. Obviously, the Connections 6 was released a few months ago, and a number of these updates that were brought into Connections 6 have now been also brought into Cloud. And so we just want to take the opportunity to go over some of those. So if we move the slide deck along, first of all is the concept of Connections Mobile. So the Connections Mobile interface has had a refresh to not only come in line with a bit more of the theming that has been brought in with Connections 6, but it's also brought in a few areas of functionality that has been brought in with the on-premises version of Connections. First of all, it's the idea of Orient Me. So the The homepage experience is brought in line with the sort of the more Orient Me theming that has been brought in with Connection 6. So the idea of the card layout, the favorite people, the favorite communities, and this should be reflected in not only the tablet application, so for iPads or Android tablets, but also the phones as well. So you can get access to those favorite people, filter down by those updates by that person to get directly to the updates that you're most concerned with and get orientated much faster. The other major update that's been brought into the Connections mobile is the concept of the search. So obviously being on the go, using the mobile device, search is a very, very strong use case because you want to get access to content that you're aware of on the mobile device really quickly and easily. And so search is now at the forefront of the mobile applications, and it goes across all of the applications that are available to you via Connections. The other aspect that's been brought into the Connections Cloud, Connections Cloud Social is the concept of guided tours. Again, we see this with Connection 6, and it's now available to you in Connections Cloud. So the idea that if I go to, if it's my first time to the homepage or communities or files, I'm given these small guided tours to enable me into how or where to look in these different areas. So if I came to files, I'd have to go to the help center, read up on how to use files, and then go back to files. Now these are in context, and I can get information about how to use this application so that I'm a bit more in tune with what I'm actually going to be doing when I use this. And then also we've got now My Drive. So My Drive is a big update to the files concepts within Connections and now in Connections Cloud. So the idea that obviously I've got my social file sharing with my files, but now I've got the concept of My Drive. Think of My Drive as the sync concept, but more enhanced. So before we could sync single files down that existed in my files or in other people's files. Now I've got the ability to view all the files and folders that I want to keep in sync with my local computer. And so that's, as you can see by the screenshots, all I've got to do is go to My Drive. I then decide to add some files or add entire folder structures, and those will be synchronized down to the desktop. And then if I change something on the desktop, that gets synchronized up. Change something in Connection, synchronize down. I think we get the idea. But essentially, much more improved and enhanced synchronization capability to take advantage of the folder structures that were introduced previously. And of course, we have a whole raft of community updates. But to show you this, let me just stop the sharing and share my screen. So I want to share this screen. So you should be seeing a communities view right now. So what we have obviously in Connections is the idea of communities, building these groups with people and common interests to come together in one place. Before, when we wanted to start these communities, you had to start from a fresh template, a fresh slate. You had to just create your community, give it the title, give it the description, and then build from scratch. And of course, there were obviously some great things that have been produced in previous communities, but you weren't able to necessarily bring those across into a new community that you wanted to build. But what's been now introduced into Connections and Connections Cloud is the ability to copy existing communities to take advantage of that best practice that's been produced before. So much like I can start a community still, if I want to start one from scratch, I can now use this drop down to copy an existing community. So if I just go into here, and then first of all, it's going to give me the option to choose some recent communities. So if there's some recent communities I'm always working in, then I might want to actually copy the community from there. Or I can decide to just search all the communities that I've got access to and then copy that as well. I'm working on a product launch very similar to the ZetaWare community. So what I'm going to do is actually use the ZetaWare community and copy that for my purposes. What's taken across is the settings, the description, the widgets and their titles, as well as content of the rich content app, which I'll go into in a moment. So as you can see, I've got all the tags, I've got the description in here as well, and I've got some of the information. I can also change the title because it's not the ZetaWare community anymore. It's going to be the GammaWare community. And then I can go through and change all this information as appropriate, but I'm not going to do that right now, just for the purposes of demonstration. So I'm going to save that. It's going to create my new community, and lo and behold, we've taken across all of the content and the widgets from from the existing community, the existing Z2Ware community into my new GammaWare community. So I don't have to necessarily start from that blank slate. I can now get on with what's the templated and the best practice being created before. So as you can see, I've already got the collateral center, I've got the wiki already created, the Q&A, all of the titles and the concepts have been brought across into my new community. But I've decided that actually the layout isn't looking as modern or as fresh as it could. I can now take advantage of some of the new layouts that have been provided into Connections Cloud as well, with the introduction of more banner style layouts. So if I go into change layouts, I have the traditional layouts as before, so the 2 columns aside, the 3 columns aside, but now I've also got the 3 columns of the top menu as well as the 3 columns top menu and banner. So I'm going to select the one with a banner just for this purpose. And there we go. The navigation has changed, so it's a horizontal layout with the more applications onto the side. And then I've also got this banner aspect as well. So it's a much more fitting layout for my community purpose as well. And then I can start to move things around and build my overview page as appropriate. The last aspect that's been brought into Connections Cloud as well, that was previously in, I believe it was Connections 5.5 that was brought in, is the concept of the Rich Content app. So as you can see here, we have the Rich Content app that's available to us now in Connections Cloud. So enable us to build these much more content-enabled communities to bring content to the forefront and to the overview, so that community members don't have to dig around and find things as well. So I've just added that one Rich Content app. I can add as many as I want to as well. And if I just go all the way to the bottom, decided to go all the way down here, that Z2Ware community had a lot of applications. And let me just bring it all the way up. Let's just make it easier. And let's just drop it in there. And so what this Rich Content app allows me to do is to essentially add either HTML or rich text directly into the overview page. So this is really good if you want to embed, say, maybe a box file or a YouTube video or an iframe to another site, or maybe just put in some content, maybe a rich text table or some just information or images to make your community a bit more engaging and a bit more enticing or informative to the community membership. And so I can easily put in rich content in here. It's displayed directly on the overview page, and then that can be made available to my community membership. And I believe that is all I needed to share in terms of the Connections update. So if we jump back into the slide deck, and where is that one? It is this one. Share. And apologies for 1 second. 13.
You'll just, yeah, that's it. Well done.
It was good memory from me. And so, as we said, the community layouts and the Rich Content app. And I want to hand you back over to Chris to take us through Engagement Center.
Thank you very much, Leon. Yes, just in the nick of time. So, Connections Engagement Center is a new add-on for IBM Connections. Now, it's not a new offering. It's an offering that's been around in the market for several years. It's a technology that was acquired from the business partner Time to Act, and it was previously known as XCC. And its purpose was to create a digital workplace hub to enhance employee engagement whilst utilising IBM Connections to build out the navigation and the content within that page. So if you imagine, and it's not necessarily, we wouldn't necessarily call it a social intranet, but it allows you to create more of a corporate homepage for the users that are accessing your corporate Connections deployment. And I'll show you some screenshots of what that actually provides. It's currently available for Connections on premises as an add-on solution, but it'll also be available for Connections Cloud later on this year, and we're all looking very much forward to that. So let's just move on to the next slide. So where it's looking to add value and address some current issues is be able to do engagement alongside content. as well as embed other applications. So providing an experience that provides collaboration, but in a way that doesn't require a deployment of a whole set of new tools. It doesn't require IT to build up your pages, and puts the power in the hands of your business users. So even though you may want to create a corporate front page with communications from your CEO, you can let your HR teams build an onboarding page, for example, or allow your sales teams to be able to create sales tracker pages with content, and even integrating services from other applications very quickly, like, for example, your CRM system. So you can get a full 360-degree view of a customer or of opportunities that our sales team are doing. So just to give you an example, this is very much one example of a home page of having content as well as tasks, active streams people find there. In fact, what I'm going to do on the slide actually show you an example of what that is, rather than just showing you slideware. So all being well. So here's, in fact, I'm going to use a different one. Apologies. Here we go. So we'll just log in here. So here's an example from a company called Seamless Corp. So here you can see corporate news. You can see other news from other areas of business, and a message, for example, from our CEO. Now, all of these are different widgets on the page, but if I were to click on one, you can see that there's content, but there's also engagement. You're able to add comments, you're able to like, you're able to open the community that this is linked to, but of course, this is all sitting within Connections. So it's not a web content engine per se, because all that content sits within Connections. And if you think of further on how this can improve adoption as well, it's extremely useful. So here you can build out navigation as well. And again, this is all managed by Connections, not necessarily a different service. So again, business users can build out whatever they need to be able to provide all the different services they need in order to get the information that they want. So you don't need a separate content engine to deliver this kind of user experience. It's available all mobile rendered as well, which is great for mobile devices. This is not replacing Orient Me, and this is not replacing your active stream. That's all still there as a separate page. So this is really much complementing the existing experience of Connections by being able to build out a certain level of corporate navigation and a bit of customization to the user experience as well, and that all being controlled by business users. So we'll just come back to the slide deck at this point. Now, as I said, it's available in Connections on premises today, but it is going to be available in Connections Cloud. And later on this year, when it is available in cloud, we'll show you the power of IBM Connections Engagement Center in being able to customize the pages. In fact, we can go to the extent of creating an entire site for you within minutes. It's that simple. So let's carry on with the next step. Moving on, a shout out for the IBM Think conference, which is IBM's new Uber, not with a U, but with a double O, new Uber technical conference that will bring everything together, including collaboration and talent, in line with cognitive and cloud and everything else that IBM is doing within Vegas in the week of March. If, as this is Icon, if anyone is looking to speak at the event, then the call for abstracts and speakers opened not that long ago. So just go to Google IBM Think, and do go and explore the topics that are being discussed. And if you'd like to submit an abstract to be a speaker, then please go ahead and do that. So at this point, I'm just going to pass over to Tim to introduce the next bit.
Great, thanks, Chris. So where did that file go? Oh, there you go, thanks. So let me share. Can I current file? There you go. Let's do that. So I just want to skip back one stage. I want people to recognize that the call for abstracts, although it started August 28th, please be aware that it closes on Wednesday the 20th. So that's next week. So you've got 7 days to get your abstract in. and make sure that you go to the Think website to submit your abstract and follow the guidelines. There are examples of abstracts and good descriptions of what the tracks are and what the sessions that they're looking for are. So if you haven't been looking at that stuff already, do it now. Get yourself to the Think website, get all the PDFs downloaded, take a look through the abstracts they want, and see if you can submit something that will fit their guidelines. I suspect that you won't have long to get everything in, and you can't leave anything to be decided. You do have to put in all of the information, because if you miss anything out, your abstract will not get considered and therefore will not be picked. So make sure you've got all your ducks in a row before you start down that road. Okay. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce somebody new to Icon UK's Around the Table, and I don't think we've even had Stuart at one of our live events. So Stuart is in the USA, I believe. Is that right, Stuart? Are you on mute, Stuart? Can you hear me?
If you are speaking, Stuart, just press *1 to unmute yourself.
So anyway, while Stuart's working that out, Stuart sent me an email saying he'd like to talk about IBM Domino applications on cloud, and we thought that was a really good topic for us, because we've got a lot more focus coming back to Domino, as people inside IBM seem to be seeing it as something that we should be doing still. So it's really good to hear those conversations going on again in IBM. And when Stuart suggested talking about the Domino applications in the cloud, then we were really interested to hear what that's about. So we hope it's going to be of interest to you. Stuart, are you able to talk to us yet? Okay. Can anybody else hear Stuart? Because I can't.
No, I can't hear Stuart. I've just messaged him, and he's saying he's on. Stuart, can you press *1 to unmute yourself, please, on your telephone keypad?
There we go. Thank you for the *1.
Hey, there he is.
That helps. Yeah, *1 was the key. *1 was the key.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So,
Thank
Stuart,
you.
welcome to Icon UK. And
thank you.
You've got 30 minutes to tell us as much as you can in 30 minutes about Domino applications on the cloud. If you want to leave some time for questions, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, great. Thanks a lot. I apologize for that little mix-up there. And just to answer
That's fine.
some of your questions there, Tim, I'm based in Toronto, Canada. I work out of our software development lab up in Markham, just north of Toronto.
I've been there. It's lovely.
Yeah, it is nice. It's nice up there. It's nice in the summer. It's not that great in January. But I work in Richard Jeff's organization. So if you know the ICS organization under he, Richard leads our development support and services team. So I report into Richard, and some of you may know me through some of my other work around cloud migrations for Verse and Smart Cloud Notes. And recently I've also taken on some further responsibility around leading a new initiative, a new offering that we have around Domino applications on cloud, which is a new and exciting offering that we're putting together that I wanted to just spend a few minutes today taking you through. So just a few things. We haven't released this offering yet. We plan to go live sort of at the end of October, early November with this. So we're trying to coordinate it with several customers that we're working with right now in going live with them. But so there might be some things that I'm talking about in here around data center locations or specific versions or other things around future statements that are obviously subject to change and may change as we sort of evolve this offering in general. But everybody on this call probably is well aware of sort of the value of Domino applications worldwide. So we spent a lot of time gathering information around the overall usage of applications around the world. And really what our customers are looking for. So obviously in the past we've had, certainly opportunities of being able to host Domino applications. Both us and business partners, customers as well, have always had the opportunity of hosting Domino applications in, either on-premise or in cloud services. But what we're trying to do here is do something very different. And we think the market here is substantial. We have different sets of users and customers around the world, some that, continue to be very loyal to the platform and continue to expand and enhance their investment in Domino applications and may or may not have moved to Smart Cloud Notes or Verse. We have other customers that have, moved to other platforms and other technologies, but continue to manage and maintain Domino applications as well. So it really hits both of those market segments very well, and those segments are huge. You can see on this slide here that, based on some of the surveys here, there's somewhere in the neighborhood of between 25 and 50,000 organizations around the world that still have some level of notes and Domino applications in their environments, and a lot of them want to move them to the cloud. So a lot of customers are looking at ways of reducing their dependencies on staffing and reducing their overall operational costs and capital costs. When we talk about cost too, a lot of our customers and even our consultants and sellers often think of it from, not just, a lot of people think of it in terms of recurring costs. So like how much is, it going to cost me to run my server? How much is it going to cost me to run my software and my renewals and things? But there's a lot of other costs that go into managing applications, either on-prem or in the cloud. And one of the big ones is around, the acquisition costs, not just of infrastructure like, hardware, power, network, those types of things, but also the acquisition costs of labor as well. So being able to keep those highly skilled resources engaged and working and on your applications and that's always a challenge is keeping those staff. So we hope that this offering helps to sort of mitigate some of those challenges that some of our customers have around the world as well. So really what Domino Applications on Cloud is it's a new SaaS offering. So it's intended to be, a consumption-based model. So it's very different than traditional application hosting models where you typically charge, based on the total number of apps or the infrastructure size or, the number of users that use it. This is really intended to be a SaaS-based offering. So for our customers, they can extend it out, they can contract it down based on, where they're taking their Domino apps. We charge based on a per app subscription model. So this means that we've tried to blend out the general costs of what we think Domino applications are going to be, and then for customers they pay one price for their applications. So we understand that some customers are going to have complicated apps, some are going to have simple apps, and what we've done is blended that into a very simple one pricing model number that all of our customers can take advantage of. We understand too that like in certain circumstances that customers will also want to move like their development and test environments into this environment as well. So we certainly support that as well. And from a pricing perspective, we've still got to kind of work that out, but probably what we're going to see is a sort of a discounted model off of that subscription price to coincide with what those development and test environments are. So really the model here is we want to provide a service that's easy for our customers to move their apps into the cloud, provides very few barriers for them and allows them to move everything into the cloud. So it works very well for, customers that, even have, hybrid Smart Cloud Notes environments as well as, on-prem environments. They can move basically all of their existing applications into our cloud, and whether it be a development environment or a test environment or a production environment, we can support that in our cloud service. So yeah, as I mentioned, it's a scalable cloud hosting environment for Domino. We pay per database per month. It's secure. I have a few slides that talk a little bit about security in more detail and what we're doing around that. And basically, we manage all of the hosting, so the monitoring, the management of the infrastructure, and the customer really just maintains the application design from a business perspective. So if you have changes that you want to make to the application, maybe you load data on a regular basis, or you update views based on what year it is or something like that. You continue to do those things as you do today, but it's really being done in our environment, and we take care of all of the heavy lifting of the infrastructure and management of it. So just a few things about what's included in the service capabilities. So based on the pricing model, you get one instance of the database. So if you need multiple instances of the database distributed around, we certainly support that. We maintain the data, the health of the environment in general. We provide monthly reports to our customers on the state of their applications and the state of the environment in general. We support nodes client access, so NRPC access, ICAA access, as well as web browser access. So there's no differentiation on that from a price or delivery perspective. That's all the same. We also include data at rest encryption. So not notes database encryption, but actually in the infrastructure itself, we do at rest encryption, so that there's no possibility of sort of cross-contamination or cross-pollination of data between our different customers, because this is a multi-tenant environment. So every customer has dedicated data directories that are encrypted using independent keys, so that if there were ever at the rare possibility that someone ever got physical access to the data center, they couldn't actually use the data from one customer to another. So security, and like I mentioned, I have another slide on that. Security is one of the huge drivers behind this, is developing a highly secure, highly robust solution for this. We do daily backups and restores. We keep those backups and restores for up to a week, for our customers, just to make sure that, if things happen to the applications or you need to back them up or restore them for some reason, those things are available to you. And then the way we've done it is we've actually built this out in a containerized environment. So each customer gets at least one Domino server. For larger customers, they'll get, multiple, servers. They run in a virtualized environment. So only your data is running on your server, and only your data is stored on your volume of encrypted storage. But you're sharing this environment across multiple, customers. So, we work with our customers as part of the onboarding process to really size out how many servers you need. We keep it very simple from a sizing perspective to make sure that the PVU models that are associated with the servers match to what your entitlements are. So we don't really mix and match and make it complicated for customers. We make that process very simple. And then we'll keep the environment up to date. So as new versions, as new feature packs come out, quarterly or yearly, we'll update the environment, working with you to make sure that, there's no dependencies in your environment that would impact that ability to upgrade it. And we'll continue to keep that environment upgraded, which is one of the key drivers, again, for this offering. As I mentioned already, we'll also support development and test and high availability, like clustered environments as well. So if you have, mission critical applications that need to go into this environment, they can be clustered across multiple servers and put into high availability configurations as well. And we'll support a lot of the other features in Domino as well. So DAOS and access services, and the base configuration is really you cross-certify your apps with your OU with our certifiers. But if you want to bring your own certificates as well into this environment, we can support that configuration as well. So we're trying to be as flexible as possible to accommodate the variety of customers that are out in the market. For locations, again, the way we've built out this environment and the actual upfront investment and sort of startup charges are fairly low for this environment. So it gives us a lot of flexibility in locations. So, we plan to, start with 3 locations. We've got 2 of them built out today, and we're currently working on the 3rd location, which is actually in Japan, in Tokyo. But to start with, we have Dallas, Frankfurt, and Tokyo as our primary locations. This is really being driven by where our customers are right now, in Europe, North America, and Japan. But we are looking at other locations as well. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback on this offering and a lot of demand in other locations as well. One of them being, providing some other alternative locations in Asia Pacific as well. So again, if you're a global customer where you've got, applications in multiple data centers today, you can certainly take advantage of multiple data centers. We don't have any of those limitations where you can't federate across multiple data centers. So you can certainly, you can co-locate your applications as close to your users if you've got manufacturing facilities in China, or if you have, offices in Europe or North America. You can split those out so that you get your applications as close to your users as possible. And then we are looking at other locations as well as in mainland China. We'd be one of the first to offer a public cloud service in mainland China. We're looking at partnering with a local service provider there to deliver that to our Chinese customers, as well as in India as well. We have a large presence of Domino customers in India as well that can take advantage of this. So again, this chart might change, but certainly the yellow ones, the 3 primary sites are the ones we're going live with, and then based on customer demand, we're going to sort of balance out where the future sites sort of roll themselves out. So there's a lot of customer benefits. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this slide. I think I've talked a lot about this already, but really, one of the things that really resonates with our customers around cloud is really the ability to move from, capital expenditures to operational expenditures. So this is one of those big opportunities for them, and really allowing our existing, customer base that have moved to Smart Cloud Notes and Verse to be able to truly realize their full move to the cloud, right? So a lot of them have been able to successfully move their mail to the cloud, but then they've lagged on their applications and still have to maintain fairly large and robust on-premise infrastructures to support those applications. And they haven't really been able to realize that full value of moving to the cloud. So we think that this, it's been a long time in the works, but we think this is the answer to that. This is going to allow a lot of our customers to be able to really, complete that journey to the cloud and make their business case successful. Security is a top priority. I'm going to actually skip this slide and go to the next one that has a bit more detail on security. But really, we leverage, a lot of the physical and operational security models that have been put in place today by software. So in the Bluemix environment, we roll out this service. We also leverage our cloud operations centers for monitoring and management. So they've put together a whole bunch of governance around how they monitor and manage and provide separation of duties within the environments as well. So those things all transcend and carry over into this service as well. So it's monitored 24/7. That we have all of the appropriate security compliance put in place from an IBM perspective. So we meet all of the IBM internal security compliance levels. We do encryption and transport, which is a requirement by IBM. All of our services that we provided from a SaaS perspective have to encrypt all of their data in transit, as well as data at rest. So we do all of those capabilities. As I mentioned earlier, we do encrypted storage as well. We isolate all of the data across our customers, as well as within the physical deployment model, so that we have different network segments so that users can't directly access. They have to go through a proxy to do it as well. And I should add too that we don't just do this at the time of configuration, but we continually update the security measures put in place in this environment. So we actually do weekly penetration testing on the environment, and we've done ethical hacking on the environment as well to make sure it's secure and sound. And we continue to do that, week in and week out. It's a service that we've implemented in the environment to do that automated penetration testing as well. The onboarding process is fairly simple. We've done this intentionally because we don't want it to be a process that generates a lot of blockers and boundaries for our customers. So really, the first 2 steps are really probably the most intensive for our customers, is really around analyzing and categorizing the application applications, really understanding which applications you want to move to the environment. I know there's lots of presentations and lots of information out there in the market around, how to analyze your applications and how to categorize them. I will add that we are in the process of working with PanAgenda. So if most of you are probably familiar with PanAgenda, the next release of PanAgenda will include some custom filters. So if you're familiar with their application insights tool, it comes with specific filters for different use cases. And their next release will include filters specifically for this offering. So you'll be able to click on a tab that says Domino Applications on Cloud, and it will actually show you and analyze your environment to show you what needs to be changed in your applications in order to sort of comply with our service, which will make it very easy for our customers to really identify, which apps are the easiest ones to move. Like, which ones can I move right now? Which ones do I need to, spend time on? Which ones don't really make a lot of sense to move? Those types of things, and really kind of accelerate that ability for our customers to move their apps into the cloud. And then the last part is really around us provisioning the cloud containers for a particular customer. So we have that automated. So, as soon as the customer signs up for the service, we automatically provision those cloud containers, update the ACLs in the customer's applications, and customer can either replicate or FTP the applications up to our environment, perform a final Delta replication, and then redirect the users to our service. So it's a fairly simple process to get them up there. The environment itself is it's a new way of doing Domino's. We're actually using Docker containers to deliver the services. And if anyone's been following sort of some of the new features that Barry Rosen's been communicating as the offering manager, one of the features that was announced in August was the support of Docker. And the reason they can support Docker is because of the work that we've done in this offering to actually get it running. So we've actually developed this model that supports this concept of application pods, and then within each pod we have these Domino server instances running on Docker containers. And each, as I mentioned before, each customer gets dedicated disk and dedicated Domino instances running within this containerized environment. We've done significant stress testing on this environment. We've actually been able to simulate over 3,000 Domino users accessing hundreds of Domino apps within each container. So we've done scalability and performance testing on this environment as well. And this provides a lot of flexibility for our customers that are either expanding up or reducing their infrastructure, and it allows us to share infrastructure across multiple customers. So we're able to share the firewalls, the load balancers, the underlying virtual images that are running, but not have to worry about users multi-tenants being able to see each other's or access each other's data. So those are really the key advantages of going down this path. Pricing and licensing. So again, sort of subject to change, but I wanted to sort of give you an idea of where we're headed with this. We're again, simple sales model. We don't want it to be a complicated process of quoting and figuring things out. It's going to be $27 per database per month. That's going to be our price. Obviously, there'll be discounting available for larger volumes. We're looking at a 1-year commitment on this. Right now, it's a bring your own license model. So it's really Domino Enterprise Server or Utility Server. The expected PVUs, actually 400 is not correct. It's going to be 280 PVUs per server. So basically what we'll do with you is just help you make sure that your entitlements match with the number of servers that you're deploying into the environment. So all of our servers will be 280 PVUs across the board. So it'll be very easy for our customers to look at their entitlements and figure out, mapping that licensing into that environment. We'll ask that you sign up for a minimum of 10 applications. And part numbers, we're actually introducing part numbers October probably is when those part numbers will go live in Passport Advantage. So we'll have part numbers as well, and that will give a great opportunity for our sellers and partners to be able to leverage, and sell this offering out. So it should coincide with about the time that our first customers go live that we'll be able to offer this as a part number program as well. Just a few slides here, just getting into the nitty-gritties around roles and responsibilities. Obviously, I'll leave these charts behind for Tim to distribute to the team, but this gives you an idea of sort of the responsibilities that each entity is really required to perform to be successful in this project. So I've sort of highlighted some things here where they're either required, so we really expect either the customer or IBM to do to be successful, and then some assist activities where I like to consider those, opportunities where, if the customer can't do those, there's things that either IBM or a business partner can step in and provide some assistance with. So, around the analysis and remediation of applications, obviously that falls on the customer, but it can certainly be something that a partner, helps the customer get ready for if there's a lot of remediation that needs to be done in the environment. We do all of the configuration of and provisioning of the environment in the cloud for the customer. So the configuration of the cloud containers, customer replicates or transfers their applications to the cloud. So obviously, sometimes replication is okay, but for a lot of applications, you can't, change replica IDs. So we offer the ability to do either physical or FTP transfers up to our cloud as well. We do all the monitoring and management of the environment for you. We do all the backup. We do all the version updates for you. If you have application changes that you want to make to your app because maybe your business process has changed, or maybe some business rules have changed within your application, again, that's something you can do yourself. We give you access to make those changes, but if you don't want to do them, or you don't necessarily have the skills to do them, you can certainly have a business partner step in and do those things for you as well. And then obviously, monthly cloud reports and statistics are something that we'd be providing to our customers as well. This is just some guidance, just some quick guidance for Domino applications on cloud. Obviously, we can't fit every single type of application into our environment, so we like to give a little bit of guidance here around, these are good scenarios to consider for Domino applications on cloud, and this is a good scenario. The third column there is really to represent, this is a good scenario for, maybe going to a private cloud or keeping your apps on premise, right? So, we try to limit the application size to 25 gigs. We're providing notes, ICA, and web access. This is not intended to be a mail environment. We will support mail routing back to your on-prem environment or into our cloud environment for the purposes of application email notification, but this isn't intended to be an email environment. So like if you're looking for, complex LDAP or POP3 or IMAP services, or a lot of SMTP services running in this environment, you're probably better suited to looking at a private cloud solution. Our security standards are defined. We don't have a lot of flexibility in them. IBM is very strict on how we define our standards. So, we as well as our customers have to comply with those standards. So if that's something that our customers are, can't do because maybe their standards conflict with ours, perhaps a private cloud solution is better suited for you. We also manage the domains and server configurations of this environment as well. So if a customer wants to, own all the certificates and manage the domains themselves, again, better suited probably for a private cloud environment. And then finally, just a few more things here. Just if you have more information, you want more information on the offering, there's a few places to go. This is really my last slide on this topic, but if you need help finding your reps, obviously Chris and Leon are on the call here, so definitely reach out to them before you click on that link. But Chris and Leon can definitely get you more information on this. We do have a public FAQ document that's posted on the IBM website as well that goes through in more detail, what this offering is. And we've also posted a video that kind of highlights some of the features as well. So if you want to see the video or share the video, it gives about a 2 or 3 minute overview of what the offering is and sort of the value proposition of the offering. So, and of course, if you have any questions and you want to reach out to me directly, absolutely. Feel free to reach out to me directly. I'll make sure that Tim, Leon, and Chris, share my contact info. I'm always available to talk and provide more insights. So again, thank you. Sorry about the audio mix-up at the beginning there, but I appreciate everyone's time. It was a real pleasure, and hope to talk to you all soon. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Stuart, for your presentation. We do have some questions. So
Great.
Tom Rhodes has asked a question. Tom, do you want to ask that yourself? Are you still on the line? If you are, I'm going to suggest that if we current file, if we go onto this slide here, if you want to ask a question, then *1 on your phone if you're dialing in, or if you're using computer audio, request to speak, and then Sam or Chris will sort that out for you. Sorry, Leon or Chris will sort that out for you.
Yeah, I
okay,
see Tom's
so
question here.
Yeah.
Tom, you were asking, what country does the Domino data or any backups get held in? Is that the question? Yeah.
That
Tom,
was that was before your screen where you showed what the data centers were. Right. Just one other question from there is, obviously there's Domino administrators seeing the data. It'd be important to know what countries those people are in as well, i.e. who can possibly get to that data if we are not, say for example, we're in the UK rather than Germany where Frankfurt is.
So we do. So the data itself, the data centers that you saw on the screen are the data centers in which the data resides in, both from a production perspective as well as the backups. So the backups are kept within that data center. We don't do any sort of DR, cross-site DR or anything like that at this point in time, primarily because that would force us to, kind of cross geographic boundaries. Our support teams, just to give you an idea of our support teams so you understand who would have access to your data, all of our support teams are full employees of IBM. Our operations team is the same operations team that provides, I shouldn't say operations team, I should say monitoring team, is the same monitoring team that provides monitoring and level 1, issue resolution on Connections Cloud. So it's the same team. And the sort of our operations team is broken into sort of 3 geographies. So we have a team in India, we have a team in Europe, and we have a team in the United States that do that. Specifically in Europe, it's a team, based in Germany right now, just to coincide with that data center. So again, if there's specific employee residency requirements that you have, I'd be really interested in hearing, about them, so we can sort of fine tune this or see if there's like a, maybe a private cloud type solution that better suits that.
Yeah, the obvious example would be that we wouldn't want people outside the EU seeing that data.
Okay.
Brilliant. Thanks for your question, Tom. We do have a question from Daniel Lieber. So Daniel's asked, are Express licenses permitted as part of the Bring Your Own license? Now, I know that you said utility and enterprise, but wondered if Express is included in that or would be considered.
I have to check on that. I seem to think that there's a limitation on the Express licensing that would prohibit that in certain circumstances. I'm not sure in all circumstances, but for some reason I think that, Express doesn't allow clustering and things like that. I'll have to get back to you, Daniel. Tim, I'll communicate that through you what the answer is, but I'll have to get back to you on that one. But I think there are some reasons why chose the enterprise and DUS licensing models because they were not prohibitive in sort of their feature function set for the majority of our customers. But I'll check for you, Daniel. Thanks for the question.
So do we have any other questions? If you do want to ask a question, please raise your hand or request to speak, and we'll get to you as soon as we can. I don't see any raised hands at the moment. If you do want to speak and you're on a telephone line, please press *1, and then your line will be open. Speak now, or forever hold your peace.
Can we use LEI in this environment? Yeah, good question. We don't currently support LEI in this environment. We do have a number of customers that we've actually configured private cloud environments for that use the same containerized environment, but it's sort of off to the side. It's not part of this particular offering. So yes, this type of configuration and this type of service would work for LEI, but we're not currently supporting that in this particular offering right now.
Okay, so if there's no more questions, it's the top of the hour. In fact, we've gone a minute past. Oh. Yep, no worries, Tom. I'm going to close this session out and tell you that we will be back next month in October with another edition of Around the Table. If you'd like to suggest what we do, then please drop us a line. You can do that through the website, or you can use info@iconuk.org, and that will get to us as well. So if there's something you'd like us to cover and go find you a guest speaker to talk about that, apart from the What's New in IBM, then please let us know what you'd like, and we'll try and get that done as soon as possible. We will be back next month on October the 10th, and it will be 3 p.m. again. So sorry that it was 4 p.m. this month. If anybody wants it to change to 4 p.m. permanently, again, let us know. It was a commitment that we had in the organising team that made us switch it this month. So back to normal service as of next month. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Stuart, for your fantastic presentation about Domino applications in the cloud. Thank you, Chris and Leon, for your help today and your presentation earlier on. And I will leave you guys in peace to continue the rest of your Thursday. Thank you very much for your time, everyone.